So good evening, everyone, and welcome to our UK Kannaway presentation on this wonderful evening. My name is Gilles Palanque, and it's going to be my great pleasure taking you through a presentation that will cover a little bit about CBD, a little bit about the endocannabinoid system and how CBD works in your body. It's also going to cover the industry that we're in, the company we work with, the products that we're going to be covering for tonight, and obviously how the business side of things work. We're going to go through all of this together. Let me introduce you to my story. I started to get involved with Kannaway. I won't say by accident as such, but it definitely never was my intention to start a business with Kannaway. About a year ago, it's almost coming up to a year, when for the very, very first time, we were introduced as parents to the remarkable products that you're going to hear about tonight, and especially the CBD oil that is going to be the key feature of our presentation tonight. And the reason for that is because we've got two children, my wife and I, and both boys are autistic. And one of them in particular had been having major problem with autism-related anxiety for the last 6 years. We've had 6 years of literal hell with self-harming and isolation and behavioral issues, and you name it, very difficulties to process information and to express himself, that was leading to additional aggravated anxieties. And there was absolutely nothing that we tried over the last 6 years that was actually even scratching the surface. However, 3 years ago, we came across the idea of using cannabis oil, or in particular CBD oil, from a good friend of ours who herself is on the spectrum and herself has got major issues with anxiety. And she told us that the only way that she could actually go through a full day was actually by using cannabis oil herself. And that intrigued us very much so, to the extent that we ended up doing a lot of research. And at the time, we discovered the whole concept about CBD. We discovered the whole concept about THC, which you're going to hear about tonight as well. And we pretty much identified what would be the perfect oil that we would be very happy to give to a young child like our son. Unfortunately, at the time, this type of oil didn't exist in the UK. We couldn't find it. Most of the oils you could find in the UK, they were imported very often illegally from the US or from Holland, and we were very uncomfortable with this idea. So we sort of benched the idea of using CBD until we could find the perfect oil. And that's about a year ago, when a really good friend of ours mentioned to us that she had come across an oil that was literally ticking all the boxes that we had decided that was the oil we wanted. And literally that made us so excited that within about 2 days, we were meeting her in Birmingham and getting a bottle of oil from her. Now, to cut a long story short, within a week, we had a different child. Literally, we had a child that was happier, calmer, so much more sociable. The self-harming had stopped. The isolation was stopping. He was starting to get really very much involved in the family life, and even started to develop a sense of humor. Literally, a week, 10 days down the line, we had a different child, to the extent that about 10 days after starting the oil, his school called us to ask us what we were doing with him. And another extent is, 3 months later, he was actually able to move from a severe learning difficulty school onto a moderate learning difficulty school, where he's absolutely thriving. And for the first time ever, we're starting to talk about things like GCSEs and BTEC, and possibly even A-levels later on in life, which is absolutely incredible. The oil had an impact on literally everyone in the family. For me, it took my chronic pain following a very bad accident 2.5 years ago, maybe from an 8 out of 10 down to about a 1 or 2. And that was pretty much life-changing for me as well. It helped with my wife, it helped with my son, it helped with our dogs and their anxiety. So the oil literally changed the whole family. And we got so much interest from our circle of friends asking what we were doing and where they could actually find the oil, that it started to dawn on us that there was definitely a business opportunity that we should really be looking into. And then we discovered that the CBD industry, the cannabis industry, was ready to explode in this country. And we took a little bit of a leap of faith, got started with Kannaway, gave it our best shot. And literally, over the last 11 months since we've been registered with Kannaway, this company has transformed our life altogether. We are now not only in a health position that is so much better than we've ever been, but we are also now in a wealth position that is extremely exciting for the future, developing an income through Kannaway, which exceeds by far what we've ever earned in our life in business already. And that's just the beginning. It's really exciting. We now lead a team of in excess of 400 people in the UK, and we are building a very, very strong network of distribution for the Kannaway products throughout the UK, and now also in various countries. So if you hear some enthusiasm in my voice when I'm going through the slide tonight with you, you'll understand why. That's because this company has literally changed the way we live our lives these days. So before we start talking about CBD itself, let's discuss what is hemp and what is marijuana. Very often people assimilate the word cannabis with marijuana. When you start to talk about cannabis, they're thinking about people smoking and getting high. And that is because cannabis is actually a family of tree in which marijuana is one of the trees. But people very often forget that out of the family of trees, there is another plant called hemp. Now, marijuana, as you can see on the screen here, is grown short and bushy. It's primarily grown for its high concentration of THC, which is a psychoactive agent that creates the high. There is no known industrial application for marijuana except effectively the idea for people to get this particular psychoactive high. However, on the other side, you've got hemp. Hemp is very tall and lengthy. It can actually grow up to 20 feet. And it's got very high concentration of another substance called CBD, which itself is absolutely non-psychoactive. Around the world, it's actually been grown for 12,000 years of known history, mostly for fiber, but also for many different usages, as you're going to see later on in the presentation. Hemp is an extraordinary plant. This is the plant that we are currently using for our product. Tonight is all about plant. It's all about health. It's not about the high. So make sure that you understand the difference between the two. So hemp, as I mentioned, it's been known to be a crop domesticated by mankind for over 12,000 years. We've got traces of hemp seed being found in a piece of ceramic in Japan 12,000 years ago. 9,000-year-old woven hemp fabric discovered in Turkey surrounding the skeleton of a baby in the arm of his mother proves that hemp was actually part of the culture of the Stone Age, and we've basically been using hemp literally from the beginning of our civilization. Later on, it is known that during the reign of Henry VIII and Elizabeth I in the UK, it was compulsory to grow hemp if you had a certain amount of area of cultivation. If you had 60 acres under cultivation, you had to have at least a quarter of an acre to grow hemp, otherwise you risked jail or doubling your taxes. And in the 16th century, it was very much the crop that the settlers took with them in the United States, and very quickly became a massive trade sort of asset for those territories. There was even a war in 1812, literally fought because of the trade of hemp. So hemp became very, very important. It was particularly important because it was the plant that was used for a lot of textile, but also for the ropes and the sails of ships, and for a lot of the uniforms of soldiers and so on. So it was very much a massively important part of the trades and the economy of the time. Now, it's quite fascinating to know that 90% of all medicines were actually derived from hemp in the 1800s and the early 1900s. And it's only extremely sad to realize that in mid-1920s in the UK and mid-1930s in the US, hemp became vilified because it was associated with marijuana under the whole of the umbrella of cannabis. It was actually vilified as the evil weed, and effectively some very, very clever and very powerful industrials in other trades such as paper industry, pharmaceutical industry, and the oil industry saw hemp as a major threat and managed to actually get it prohibited for pretty much 90 years. So it's been almost 90 years since the prohibition of hemp, and it was a very, very sad day when hemp was taken out of our civilizations. Now, hemp, I mentioned, is primarily grown for its high concentration of CBD when you look at it on a health point of view. And CBD is actually what we call a cannabinoid. CBD stands for cannabidiol, and it's actually part of a compound of cannabinoids where you have 140 different elements in the plant. CBD is only one of them. Funnily enough, THC is also only one of them. And alongside this 100 plus 140 cannabinoid compound in the hemp, you also have nearly 400 other chemical compounds such as chlorophyll, terpenes and flavonoids and waxes, all these sort of things that are part of the plant, which are so very, very good for you and for your body. So this is the reason why when we have our harvest, we make sure that we not only take the CBD, but take the entirety of the plant with it. The surprising thing is a lot of people associate CBD purely with cannabis or with hemp. It is also found in other plants such as echinacea, flax, common tea, kava, and hops. So actually other plants in the world contain CBD. Another thing which is surprising is we produce CBD ourselves, but in very small quantity. Now, cannabis is by far the plant that contains the highest amount of it. Now, let me share with you a short video that will explain to you what CBD does to your body and why it works.
The existence of hemp can be found throughout recorded history. Food, medicine, elixir, textile, hemp is thought by some to be the first crop domesticated by our ancestors. In ancient India, it was blended with milk and spices into a drink believed to aid digestion, relieve fever, and ease dysentery. Some thought it made the body more alert, calling it the nectar of the gods. Beginning in the mid-1800s, hemp oil was a natural part of the American pharmacopoeia, prescribed for everything from cramps to chronic seizures. After the 1930s, taxes made hemp too expensive to grow, and farmers mostly abandoned the crop. Hemp became more scarce. Cannabinoids all but disappeared from the food chain, and Americans became deficient in cannabinoids. Cannabidiol is a naturally occurring chemical compound found in plants like echinacea, flax, and of course hemp. In this form, it's referred to as a phytocannabinoid. But plants aren't the only source. Cannabinoids also exist in the human body and can even be found in breast milk. Some researchers contend they play a critical role in early childhood development. Regardless of the source, cannabinoids work in conjunction with the body's endocannabinoid system, also known as the ECS. The ECS is a network of cannabinoid receptors found in the mammalian brain and abdominal organs. This system plays a key role in regulating many natural functions, including mood, sleep, and appetite. Present from even the earliest stages of fetal development, the ECS predominantly consists of endocannabinoid receptors located in both the central and peripheral nervous systems. CB1 receptors in the central nervous system combine with the brain's nerve cells to help regulate the body's biochemistry. Both endocannabinoids and phytocannabinoids bind to these receptor points to control the passage of proteins between cells. CB2 receptors in the peripheral nervous system are mostly found on white blood cells, in the tonsils, and in the spleen. Cannabinoids that bind to these sites help modulate the immune system response to disease and injury. Research has shown that cannabidiol has the potential to reduce inflammation and protect critical cells against oxidation. However, with a lack of cannabidiol in the food supply and the tendency for endogenous cannabinoids to degrade within the human body, most people are deficient in these important compounds. This absence of cannabinoids has led researchers to establish a condition known as clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. A diet rich in phytocannabinoids, such as high-concentration hemp oils and hemp seeds, may offset this deficiency. The discovery of cannabinoids and the endocannabinoid system has forced the scientific community to rethink how many of our most debilitating diseases function and how to treat them. As it turns out, so many of us are deficient in this fundamental substance that plays a key role in keeping our bodies balanced and healthy. These receptors are an intrinsic part of who we are, leading us to ask, are we starved of cannabinoids?
So the gentleman you just saw on the screen here is Dr. Stuart Titus. He's the CEO of our mother company called Medical Marijuana Inc. And he's regarded as the foremost expert on CBD around the world, has recently been decorated as the foremost expert. So it's really great to have him on board, to have him as our CEO. He's a font of knowledge, and he puts together the most incredible sort of trainings and explanations about not only CBD, but also the endocannabinoid system or endogenous cannabinoid system, as you can see on the screen here. Now, what is the endogenous cannabinoid system? Well, it's actually, very simply, your largest self-regulatory system. It's effectively the system that helps regulate all the other systems in your body, primarily your nervous system, your immune system, your hormonal system, and so on. It helps balancing moods, sleep, appetite, hormone production. And effectively what it tries to do is it helps put your body back into homeostasis, into balance. It helps restore harmony of all bodily functions. And, you know, when someone asks us, well, is CBD oil going to work with this particular condition or this particular symptom? What we can only answer is the fact that CBD will help feed your endocannabinoid system, which in itself is going to help regulate and rebalance your body. And a balanced body will not only perform better, but will also heal itself. And this is effectively what CBD does to you. It helps put your body back into full balance. It has receptors, what we call the CB1 receptors, which can be found into the brain and the central nervous system. We also have different types of receptors, which are the CB2 receptors that help regulate and maintain the immune system. You usually find them more in sort of the gut area. And altogether, they work towards putting together to put the body back in balance. And if you don't get enough CBD into your body, you are at risk to have deficiency in what we call, the endocannabinoid system, which could really upset your body balance and obviously lead to the body not performing in the best possible way. This on the screen is Dr. David Allen. He's a retired cardiac surgeon. He's mentioned once that the discovery of the endocannabinoid system is the single most important scientific discovery ever, and will save more lives than the discovery and application of sterile surgical technique. Now, coming from a surgeon, that's quite a massive statement. Well, you have to realize that the discovery of the endocannabinoid system in 1991 led the gentleman who discovered it to receive the Nobel Prize of Medicine. So it's definitely one of the very, very big discovery of our lives in terms of science. Now, I mentioned to you that Dr. Titus was the CEO of our parent company, Medical Marijuana Inc. Kannaway is effectively the direct selling branch of Medical Marijuana Inc., which is a company that is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year. So they're extremely well established. They've been going on for a long time. They've got multiple subsidiaries, Kannaway being one of them. And it's very much what we consider as a company of first, because they were the very, very first company on the cannabis market to be traded or to be listed on the stock exchange. And that was very much the first of many, many firsts to come. So let me just show you a quick video that will go through all the different breakthroughs that this particular company has done over the last 10 years in the field of CBD and cannabis.
When Medical Marijuana Inc. became the first publicly traded cannabis company, we challenged ourselves to become the world's premier phytocannabinoid provider. We innovated an online marketplace and direct sales program that cannot be matched. Our success as a company derives from our purpose to help people live better and create a more sustainable world. We sought out the most qualified farmers on the planet and developed the ideal cultivars for large-scale hemp production. In doing so, we were the first to develop a cannabidiol-based product line. We were also the first to standardize the concentration of cannabidiol in each of our products, simply because it had never been done before. In the beginning, there were no guidelines to ensure a product's quality. So we developed a multi-tier lab testing procedure because it was the right thing to do for our customers. In those early days, the technology to produce cannabidiol on the scale we envisioned simply did not exist. So we invented it, becoming the first company to create an integrated CBD pipeline in the process. We developed the largest, most reliable source of phytocannabinoid products for the United States and dozens of countries around the world. We have also led the way in research. We were the first to obtain a license from the National Institutes of Health to develop cannabinoids as a drug treatment for degenerative brain diseases like CTE. This research opens the door to therapies for several other neurological disorders. You can see the impact of this movement all across the globe. In Paraguay and Puerto Rico, ours were the first phytocannabinoid-based products to be licensed as medically approved treatments. In Brazil, one little girl's need for cannabidiol created the first ever government subsidies for a phytocannabinoid product. Now, our hemp oil is being prescribed in Brazil for epilepsy, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, as well as for chronic pain and other conditions. In Mexico, the law was actually rewritten to allow the use of cannabidiol to treat a young autistic girl's seizures. To meet Mexico's strict regulation, we created the first completely THC-free hemp oil product on the market. From clean biofuels to building materials, hemp's possibilities are limitless. With it, we can change the status quo. We're proud of the things we've accomplished and the lives that we've touched. While many follow in our footsteps, we continue to forge a new path to health and wellness.
So as we mentioned, the company of first many breakthroughs in the industry, the first ever direct selling company to be in the cannabis space, as you heard. Very proud, and actually massive position on this particular market. We were also the first to establish a global CBD pipeline, first to establish a first global CBD brand. So this is why the History Channel recently considered us as the pioneers of the CBD industry. You know, the first company to ever create strict quality standards in what's going inside our products, but also triple lab testing systems, which allow us to be fully transparent on what's inside our products. Nowadays, this has pretty much become the norm, but we were the very first company to create those controls and those standards. Massively important, first and so far only company ever to present CBD to the World Health Organization and the United Nations in a forum that took place in Geneva in 2014. And effectively what we were doing there is trying to keep CBD classified as a food supplement when the pharmaceutical industry was trying to lobby to get it classified as a medicine. And after the speech that our representative did, the World Health Organization and the United Nations both went in favor of keeping CBD as a fundamental right to have access to it as a food supplement, while if it had gone into becoming a medicine, we would not have been able to actually have it as a human right. So this is wonderful news, and it's great to be part of the company that made it happen. And then, as you heard, in certain countries, we've even helped change laws, and we've become the first international CBD brand and the first company that actually had the products that are now being prescribed by doctors in certain countries. And let me share with you a very quick video that will explain to you exactly what happened in Brazil.
It is being called a miracle. This little girl named Ani has gone from 60 seizures a day to almost zero.
Ani lives in Brazil, but new at 7 o'clock, 10 News anchor Robert Santos shows how her savior was in San Diego.
In this Brazilian documentary, Catiel Fisher explains how her daughter Ani started having aggressive epileptic seizures when she was 3. The family never lost hope despite the sadness.
Exatamente essa esperança.
That hope led her to this Facebook page created by a Dallas mother whose little girl also suffered from debilitating seizures.
It was very hard.
Penny Howard became a source of strength for the Fishers because she and her husband discovered a cannabis-based product that worked wonders for their daughter.
It was a big deal because now we had our kid. We had our daughter.
The challenge for the Fishers was in Brazil, any product made of cannabis was illegal. Desperate, they illegally imported it. Brazilian customs discovered a shipment, and that led to a court case. The Fishers testified that product kept Ani alive, decreasing her seizures from 60 times a day to almost 0. The Brazilian government ruled it would be inhumane to keep it from little Ani. The Fishers set a precedent by changing the law.
This is the product that families are calling a miracle cure. It's called Real Scientific Hemp Oil, and the company that makes it is right here in San Diego.
The level of THC is very, very minimal.
Dr. Stuart Titus runs Medical Marijuana Inc., the first to work exclusively with Brazil, which will pay them for the product. Brazil's landmark decision opens up a multi-million-dollar hemp oil pipeline from San Diego.
San Diego is really becoming a major center for the development of these wonderful CBD-based products.
Robert Santos, 10 News.
Dr. Titus says Brazil has agreed to pay for the hemp oil product for about 1,000 patients. The Fishers and the Howards plan to meet for the first time in a few months here in Southern California.
So as you can see, the power of parents when they actually believe in the product can actually literally change the laws, which is incredible. Now, we were also the first company, as you saw in the video earlier, to be having access to the license that basically the US government has on a patent that considers cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectant. And it is huge because our sister company, Canna Life Sciences, is currently doing a lot of research on especially treatment and prevention of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and CTE, which is the traumatic effects that especially American football players and footballers and so on can have. We are currently the only company in the CBD world that has actually access to this particular license, which is amazing. And we are making headlines literally all the time. In the US in particular, we've been featured in so many different medias, and it's even starting now to happen in the UK and in Europe. So recently we moved into a new sort of branding, a new way of looking at things. And what we want is to make sure that people understand that with Kannaway, everything is about excellence from soil to sale at all levels. So, what do we do? Well, for a start, before we even started to launch our product, we researched over 3,000 different cultivators to find the right ones, the ones which could absolutely certify that the grounds had not seen any chemicals in generations, that it was the right climate, the right type of ground to grow the best possible hemp. And then what's happening as well is currently we have a major issue in the world of hemp, and that is the fact that for 80, 90 years, we haven't had the machinery that has evolved for the harvesting of hemp in the same way that machinery has evolved in the harvesting of wheat or corn, and etc. So we are currently working really closely with companies to create the first combine harvester that will harvest hemp in the most optimal way to try to save all the good things about the plant, which go from the flower to the seeds to the stalk, etc. So that's how deep we are involved in the development of the hemp industry. And then process is key because we want to make sure that every single part of our process is transparent and every single part of our process is at the highest possible level. And one of the things which is, because at the end of the day, you could say that Fiat and Ferrari are both called cars, but they are very, very different in the way they are made, in the quality that they have, in the attention to detail. Well, it's the same thing with hemp. Or the same thing with CBD. You've got all types of CBDs around the world. We want to make sure that we are the Ferrari of all CBD products. And this is one of the reasons why we can make absolutely sure that we are the highest level, is because we are creating safe product through triple lab testing, through rigorous quality standards at all time, as you heard before. And then we also believe that everything that we do has to be primarily starting with education. Education is where people need to go to. The way I like to say is we've been now 11 months working for Kannaway, and I don't have the feeling that I have sold a single bottle of oil. However, we've had hundreds of people buying oil from us. Why? Because all we do is we talk to people, we educate them, we send them to do their own due diligence and their own research, and then they come back to us and they want to buy from us because they realize very rapidly that what we have on offer here is very, very special and it's demonstrably superior to what they will find elsewhere. So education is key for people, for us, and for the company. Let me now introduce you to our family of product here in the European Union, which is slightly different from the one that we have in the US, primarily because in the European Union, the tolerance level of THC vary between country. So when the company decided to launch into Europe, they decided to go with a THC-free version of all the products, which makes it much easier to trade into the entirety of the European Union and the UK, etc. Okay, so all the products that you're going to see on display for the next few minutes are all 100% THC free. They are all ISO, IEC accredited. They've been going through very thorough lab testing, as you heard. They are all 100% natural and organic, no pesticides, no herbicides, no GMO. We've chosen the fields, so the fields don't contain any of the chemicals or harmful substances that could actually get into the oil. And of course, our products being THC-free here are federally legal in Europe and in the UK. And actually, all the products that we have in the catalog globally are federally legal to be sold in the US. Now, one of the big things that happened so far this year is the fact that in the US, something called the US Hemp Authority decided to do some testing on some products, and they realized that a vast majority of the product on the market out there didn't have the quantity or the quality of CBD that was advertised on the labels, and only very few companies had actually the level advertised inside the bottles. And we are one of them, and for that particular reason, they decided to create something called the US Hemp Authority stamp of approval that will only be given to companies, again, from soil to sale at every single level of excellence. And only 13 companies in the entire world have actually been accredited this stamp of approval, and we are one of them. So that's straight away massively reassuring for people looking into getting involved with Kannaway. This is the star of the show for us, very much. This is the really core product for us in the UK and in Europe. It's what we call a broad spectrum CBD oil. It's called Pure Gold because of the color of the oil itself. And it's an amazing daily source of CBD. It contains, because it's broad spectrum, that means it basically contains every single part of the plant at the exception of the THC. It's full of not only very high level of CBD, but also vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, fibers, proteins, terpenes, flavonoids, and all the other trace cannabinoids. So I mentioned there was over 140 different trace cannabinoids in the plant. Well, we've only removed one, which is a THC, and we've got all the other ones safe inside the bottle. So it's a great product. The taste is very light, so it's actually really great for the whole family. And it's your daily dose of CBD. It's absolutely incredible, and it's obviously very safe because of the fact that it's THC free. That is the oil that's changed our life, because that's the oil that my son took straight away. That's the oil that I started to take straight away. That's the oil that my wife started to take straight away, and it literally changed our lives. And this oil, to give you an idea on how great it is, well, in the US, they have something called the Prescriber's Digital Reference, also known as the Physician's Desk Reference. It's basically a manual that contains a description of all the products that GPs in the US can prescribe or can recommend safely to their patient. In the history of the PDR, which is several hundred years, there had never ever been any CBD product included into this particular book. Now, on the 28th of January this year, 2 CBD products for the first time entered the book, and it turns out that both of them are from Kannaway. So both of them are from our company, and one of them is Kannaway Pure Gold that you have on the screen, which is available to us. So it's really amazing. It's a great testimonial to the quality of the product and the fact that it can actually be almost considered as medically graded. Now, if people want to have faster action CBD, one of the best way for them to do is to actually use our hemp vape. Our hemp vape atomizer contains quite a high level of CBD. We have a cartridge which contains 100 milligrams. The other one contains 300 milligrams alongside with what we call medium chain triglyceride oil, which in our case is coconut oil. And effectively what it does is it's a different, an alternative delivery system of the CBD into your body. Instead of being taken sublingually under the tongue like the oil, this one goes straight into the lungs and into the nasal passage, where we have quite a lot of different receptors as well. And it actually is much faster acting. So it's a great way to get CBD straight away quickly into your body. It's a great way to top up from the CBD oil. And it's nothing to do like the smoking alternatives that you see out there, people smoking watermelon flavored vapes in the street. This is purely a different delivery system of the CBD oil into your body. Amazing product. I don't smoke, but I actually thoroughly enjoy getting this into my lungs. It's quite amazing feeling. And then we have very, very big firsts in the industry of CBD. We have something called the Super Green, which contains effectively, it's like having 40 superfoods in one scoop every single time you take it. It contains a great mix of blends, which are all herbal blends that have been put together by our chief formulator, Dr. Janelle Kim, who is the latest person in a lineage of great ancestry of herbologists in Korea. And all those blends are what we call bibong blends. That means they are secret formulas that her family has been carrying in for over 17 generations. And now they have been made available to Kannaway because Dr. Janelle Kim is our chief formulator. So amazing products. And again, we have some bibong formulas in our hemp protein, power protein, chocolate flavored, incredibly good taste, no artificial sweeteners, nothing, no baddies whatsoever. And it's full of omega-3, omega-6. It contains 20 grams of proteins per scoop, lots of amino acids, and a muscle growth blend of herbal products. Both of them contain hemp flower, which gives you your daily dosage of CBD as well. We also have a salve, which itself contains bibong herbal formulation. Very secret, very amazing. Nobody else in the world can have access to those herbal formulations, by the way. So that makes those products completely unique, and we are the only ones who can actually distribute them and use them and enjoy them. But the salve is very much what we call the MacGyver of all products, or the Swiss Army knife of skincare products, because it effectively touches every single aspect of your skin. And not only that, but it also helps with any kind of area of discomfort, pain, etc. This is a $1 billion product. We could have $1 billion company just on this product alone. It helps with anything from dry skin condition to muscle or joint aches. Literally every single aspect of your body can actually be sorted. Even, you could actually rub it on your cheek if you have toothache, and the toothache is going to disappear within a matter of seconds. Absolutely incredible product. We love it. The thing that everybody should be having in their pocket or in their handbags. We also have what was at the time when it was launched, the very first cannabis-based beauty skincare product, which has had raving reviews from Vogue, Marie Claire, Elle, etc., etc. It's been seen all over the world as a phenomenal skincare range. Contains a perfecting mask, an exfoliator, a cleanser, a moisturizer, and a serum. All of it is paraben-free and sulfate-free. So again, totally natural and organic products. Incredible. Everybody who's trying it tends to be converted instantly. Brilliant, brilliant product to have in our catalog. We also have some essential oils. Again, using our bibong blend of herbal extracts. We have an energy one, a tranquility one, and an immunity one. Well, the tranquility has literally transformed our bedtime routine for us, where we actually put it in a diffuser in the boys' bedroom. And when it used to take them up to 2 hours to fall asleep, now it takes them about 15 to 20 minutes, which is quite remarkable and life-changing for us. You could also use them directly onto your body in acupressure points, such as your wrists, your neck, or your temple, and they're going to really help. I mean, the energy one is quite incredible. When you actually put it on, it's like you've had 3 cups of coffee straight away. Well, the tranquility one will probably send you to sleep within a matter of 10 minutes or something like that. It's absolutely incredible. Love those products. Very unique, again, because of the bibong formulas. Now, we are the premier CBD company around the world. We also want to rapidly become the premier hemp company around the world. There are over 50,000 use of hemp known to man. Some of them go into health, like obviously CBD oil and so on. But food, you've heard some food supplements already today, essential oils, nutritional supplements, beauty care, beauty products. But you know what? For centuries, hemp was used for livestock feed, and it was also used in the paper industry. It has been used in textile. And one of the things which is incredible is anything made out of plastic can actually be made out of hemp, or anything made out of fossil fuel can be made out of hemp. And it's completely clean and it's completely natural. And hemp as a plant is one of the rare plants that will put more back into the soil than it actually takes of the soil. It captures a huge amount of CO2 and releases huge amount of oxygen. It is possibly the plant that will save the planet, the plant that will save humanity. It's quite incredible to know that in 1954, Henry Ford built a car out of hemp bodywork, and it was actually running on hemp biofuel, which is much cleaner and much easier to put together than fossil fuel. No wonder why the industry has actually been sort of vilified the way it was in the 1930s, because so many other industries saw us as their major competitors. You can build houses out of what we call hempcrete, and when you actually have a house made out of hemp, it's cooler in the summer, it's naturally warmer in the winter, and it's like having an air purifier in every single room of your house. It's an incredible product, incredible plant, the plant that everybody should be looking into. So no wonder why recently we associated ourselves with a company called Hempies, which is one of the leading company in the production of hemp-based textile and clothing products. They have recently launched hemp jeans and all sorts of things. Currently in the UK, we have access to some t-shirts, to some beanies, to some accessories, but we know that the list of products that are going to be available to us is going to keep on growing and keep on growing and keep on growing. Now, a company like us would not be a great company if it was not for having a great cause. And we feel that because hemp is helping us and CBD is helping us so much, it's only fair that we give back. And the way we give back with Medical Marijuana Inc. and Kannaway is through a non-profit organization, which is called Eco Connection. It's part of our entire setup. And Eco is designed to provide families who really need the product the most, because especially when you have children with major health issues and the parents have to be full-time carers, so they can't actually afford our product, but they need it the most, Eco will provide for free the products to those families. And 100% of Eco is funded through the donation from brand ambassadors from Kannaway and from money being fundraised by Medical Marijuana Inc. So it's 100% self-financed through us, and it's absolutely incredible. Another thing that we feel we need to give back is to give back education. I mentioned to you before that education is at the core of everything we do, and Eco Connection on their website, ecoconnection.org/education, has got tons of information, including an A to Z of medical research on all the different medical conditions that are known to have been benefited through using CBD. It's an incredible source of information, and I highly recommend anybody interested in the subject to go and educate themselves on those. It's brilliant. And 117 families worldwide already have been benefiting from our products. And we were one of the UK was the first country in Europe to have an Eco family with a beautiful little 3-year-old young girl in Preston in north of England, who at some point had up to 100 plus seizures a day, and within 3 weeks it had gone down below 20, and then within another 3 months it had gone down below 6 a day, which is quite remarkable. So those products work, those products change lives. So as you can see, we are changing lives, literally changing lives. And this is why we are so proud of being involved with this company on a daily, every single day. We are so proud. Now, I just want to obviously mention that all those children are extreme cases, very severe cases. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have children of that sort of condition to be needing CBD. CBD is actually something that every single person on this planet needs. And this is why we have such a phenomenal opportunity here. Let's move now towards the business side of what we do. And, are we in the right place? Well, the hemp industry, the cannabis industry, is literally at the start of one of the biggest explosion natural health has ever experienced. It is known that it's going to be growing so fast. Like, they estimate that by 2027, the industry, which in 2016 was doing about 7 billion, should be reaching 57 billion by 2027. And recent figures have actually now proved that it might even happen a lot earlier than 2027. The industry is ready to grow. If you ever have been at a place where it's the right time, the right place, the right company, the right product, the right market, it becomes magical. And that's exactly what my wife and I have been experiencing for the last 11 months being involved with Kannaway. We've never ever in 20 years in business felt that way. Now, network marketing is the way Kannaway decided to operate. Why? Because they wanted to make sure that the word was going to be spread with integrity by people using the products themselves and being able to refer them with integrity to their potential clients. And the network marketing industry generates a massive 190 billion with a B in annual global sales. But do you realize that it's actually paying out on average 200 million pounds per day in global commission? And it's an industry that has been growing and growing and growing and growing literally every single year since it got started. Now, in the world of network marketing or direct selling, they say that joining a company with 500,000 distributors or less is said to be a cutting edge opportunity. Joining a company with 100,000 distributors or less is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Well, Kannaway right now, having grown 7,300% over the last 3 years, has got much less than 100,000. We actually currently have between 60 and 65,000 distributors globally. Now, why it's such an opportunity for us, especially in the UK and in the European Union, is a large majority of those brand ambassadors globally are actually based in the US, because the US started 4 years ago. The UK and European Union were only officially launched in November, so 6 months ago, in Prague. And we have one of the unique setup where we are working alongside a very well-established 4-year-old company, which is backed up by an even more established 10-year-old company. But in the UK and in the European Union, our opportunity is not even 6 months old. And everything is there for the taking in an industry which is ready to boom. Now, if you put all those dots together, you realize why I'm so excited and why our business has exploded the way it has exploded in the last 11 months. So March was our biggest month ever. Since then, we've had April, which was also our biggest month ever. Every single month seems to be our biggest month ever. 7,300% growth in 3 years. Very hard to beat. Now, let's talk a little bit about how people make money in Kannaway. We have a very generous compensation plan, which effectively has over 10 different ways where you can actually earn money. I'm not going to go very much in detail with those. You can always ask the person who sent you the link tonight to go through them much more in detail or send you some information about it. But of course, we are getting some retail sales. You buy the product at wholesale, you retail the products, you make the difference. You could even qualify to get your own products for free, provided you get yourself 3 customers. There's a very good chance that your products could actually get sent to you on a monthly basis for free. We obviously have direct sales bonus. We have rank advancements bonus. Every single time you move up the marketing plan from the 3rd level onwards, you actually get a bonus into your bank account. Happy days. It could be £500, it could be £1,250, it could be $2,500. Sorry, I should speak in dollars. We have obviously access to residual income. That's the holy grail of network marketing, where you build a network of distribution, you show people how they can develop their own business, their own income, and the company rewards you based on the turnover generated by your entire business. And that's what we call residual income it's magical when it starts to happen. And we have something very, very unique in Kannaway called minimum income guarantee, where when you reach a certain level in the business and you maintained it for a couple of months, the company will certify that regardless what's going to happen, if you hit that sort of numbers again, you will never get paid less than a certain number. So it's almost like you have put a floor of earning underneath your feet that you will never go under, which is extremely rare in the world of self-employment and totally unique in the world of network marketing. Now, great to know as well that when you start to go to the higher levels, you also start to be rewarded in shares. So, when you think of the pace of the company's growth, you imagine that those shares are starting to be worth much, much more money every single month. Now, how do you get started? Well, it's very simple. There's one single thing that you need to do, which is to have a once a year investment of approximately £43 in the UK, 47 euros, to become a brand ambassador. And that actually gives you all the tools and everything that you need to get started. And then, because you can't open a dress shop without dresses, you need to make an appropriate initial order. And we will show you the different packs that we have on option, but the packs that we have on option are by far the most cost-effective way to actually get your products from Kannaway. And then you need to set up what we call your smart ship, which is your monthly order. And it's effectively your only requirement in order for you to get paid commissions on your team in the future, is to have a monthly smart ship. We recommend the smart ship to be the equivalent of a bottle of oil. And that bottle of oil could be used for your own personal use, or you could retail it on. But to be honest, that's if you're not even going to be selling or using one bottle of oil a month, you're not in business. Setting up your smart ship is a very smart way of being in business. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at getting a fast start, because it's easier to build this business fast than it is to build it slow. And the idea is going to be for you in your first 30 days, ideally, to get 3 either brand ambassadors or customers registered directly underneath you, and that's going to actually triple your commission on the packs that you will sell for the rest of your business career. So that's definitely a great objective to have in your first 30 days. So you're going to sit down with the person who showed you the link tonight, and then when you actually decide to get started, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sit down and plan your first 30 days to make sure that you qualify for Fast Start. And then what we're going to do is we're going to also plan for you to qualify for what we call Fast Start 3000, which is your first 60 days. So the following 30 days effectively. And if you manage to get 3,000 of what we call our points, you would get $1,000 cash incentive into your bank account. Same thing, if after 90 days you manage to do 9,000 points, you get an additional $1,000 into your bank account. So all those things are great because they give you a road to aim at in your first 3 months in business. That's brilliant. You start a business, you have no idea what you're doing, but you have somebody holding your hand, helping you plan, and you already have in front of you the first 90 days laid up and planned. Amazing stuff. So do this and then teach your team to do the same, and you're going to build a business based on momentum, and momentum is unstoppable. Now, I mentioned to you that I was going to share with you the various pack offers that we have. On this page here, we have what we call our value packs, basic value pack, starter value pack, pure value pack. These packs are primarily what I would say designed for customers who want to evaluate the products, okay? If you actually really are interested, and actually all of them give you incredible value for money. For example, the pure starter value pack, for £220, you get 2 bottles of oils, a full salve and 10 mini salves, when 1 bottle of oil in itself at retail retails £167. So you do the math. The savings are absolutely incredible. But if you actually want to start a business part-time, we would recommend that you start with either the junior executive or the senior executive pack, depending on your budget and depending on your level of commitment. But those give you pretty much all the products that you need to get started. As I mentioned, you can't start a dress shop without dresses. Well, this will give you all the products that you need to really properly get started. And those are, amazing entry point. I mean, you have a business for £325. That's all it costs you to have a business that could literally change your life the way it changed ours. If you decide you want to get really properly launching your business, and you look at it not as a part-time little thing that you're going to be doing alongside your other commitment, but really something that you are fully committed to develop, then we would recommend that you start with the Total Product Experience Pack, because it contains every single one of the products, including the skincare, and quite a few of the products also come in double, which is brilliant. So that's what we would recommend you do. but that's completely down to you. It depends on your budget and your level of commitment. Again, discuss with the person who sent you the link to see which one would be the best possible way for you to get started. Now, recently, we've also had new announcements, one of them being Smart Chip Rewards. That's very much something that of interest to you, in the fact that if you remain on Smart Chip for 3 consecutive months, the company will wipe the shipping fees on products, which effectively is £10 at a time, so that's not negligible. And you will get special offers, and you might even be able to get possibilities to recruit or enroll new brand ambassadors at a discounted price as well, which is quite amazing. So this is coming. Again, we will cover this later. But right now we are at the start of what we call Kannaway version 2. We are going through a massive rebranding, massive new excitement. Let me share with you what Kannaway looked like before and what Kannaway is about to look like now. From soil to sail, the natural choice. Everything in this branding represents natural, represents beautiful earth and sustainability. We are very, very excited by this new branding, which is taking place right now. So I want to thank you very much for your time this evening, for your consideration towards this business opportunity. We are currently going through an incredible growth, as you've seen, and we are really looking for real top quality people who are going to be able to help us sustain this growth and actually help us develop the network of distribution throughout the UK, throughout Europe. And by doing this, changing their own lives, changing their own income, changing their own health. So I hope you saw something tonight that makes you feel this could be the right opportunity for you. Please get back to the person who sent you the link to this presentation tonight. They will then help you get started either as a distributor, what we call a brand ambassador, or as a customer. Whichever way you want to get in, we will be very, very happy to welcome you into our Kannaway family, and we very much look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye now.